So good morning, everybody. This is Juan Pablo Pasos from SmartTech, and I am very happy to be introducing today our guest speaker, Mr. Bert Patton, that will actually bring us the information, the latest and the greatest regarding the channel program of Patton Electronics, especially design also promotions and new products and solutions for our 3CX market. I am very happy to see that there has been a lot of registration, so there is a lot of interest in this type of applications. So we are not going to make a big introduction, just let you know that we are welcoming questions through the chat. And Bert, welcome. Thank you very much for joining us, and thank you for joining this Latin American community that we are really interested in understanding how to make business together. Thank you very much, Bert.
All right, well, thank you, Juan Pablo. I appreciate that introduction. So we're just going to jump right in here. The first thing I'm going to do is give a quick overview of Patton. Some of you may know us, some of you may not. We're going to look at the products and the markets where we play and how we fit in those markets. I'm going to do a few slides on 3CX, a few slides on Microsoft, talk a bit about the Patton Cloud Edge Orchestration Service, and then we'll get into the channel program introduction and the invitation to join forces. So Patton Electronics is a 36-and-a-half-year-old, almost 37-year-old telecommunications equipment vendor, and as well as networking and IoT products. We have basically the competencies, the technologies, the product solution services, and are able to do special things. So people think of us as a product company, but we're not just a product company. This is, a picture here on the upper right-hand corner. This is our factory here in Gaithersburg, Maryland. We do design, develop, manufacture our own products. The company is a family business. It's privately owned, but privately owned does not necessarily mean mom and pop or small. We're actually a medium-sized multinational company. We're vertically integrated, which means that all of the disciplines that are required to be a telecom and networking solutions provider, we have in-house. Design, development, manufacturing. We do, the design part includes hardware design, software design, so the technology that we have is homegrown, and from a cultural point of view, people view Patton as being a flexible company, a passionate company, and very creative. This makes us have some unique values that we can bring to our customers because of who we are and kind of where we came from, developing over almost 37 years and growing the business organically. By virtue of being vertically integrated, everything is under our control, and so we're able to control the quality of the product and the reliability of the product. It also makes customizations easy. Because the hardware engineers are here and the software engineers are here, when something needs to be modified to address a particular unique use case, we're able to do those customizations rapidly. And because the technical support people that are on the phone or on site have direct access to the engineers as well, we're able to support our products better than a lot of companies that are not as integrated as we are. And we are solution focused. We understand that we are part of a solution. We are not the whole solution. And so what that means is that we have a large ecosystem, and we've done validated interoperability of our products really across the board with every kind of phone or PBX that's out there. We're project oriented. As I said before, we're seen as a product company, but we use those products in order to do to deploy systems. We do network design, and we bring service competencies. And so a lot of times our resellers view us as being a force multiplier, allowing them to participate in projects that are challenging, maybe address projects that they ordinarily wouldn't be able to address because they've got a larger principal standing behind them and augmenting what they can do locally. And then, of course, we are a multinational company, so we have global coverage. We literally have thousands of trained specialists around the world, individuals that have been certified on various different products and technologies that we bring to market. Well, we're doing business in 154 countries. We have 14 offices located around the world, including 7 technical assistance centers and 3 major trading subsidiaries or hubs. Where do we fit in the market? Well, we fit on the customer premise and at the edge of the network. The edge being, between the wide area network or the telecom providers and the enterprise network. But we also work with the telecom providers themselves, and so it's the other side of the edge on the telecom provider network, or the edges or the interconnects between telecom service providers. Our focus is real-time communication solutions. And when we say real-time communication solutions, we don't just mean telecom. We don't just mean voice over IP. The contribution that we're making in communication extends to pro audio video, to media broadcast, to industrial communications networks, machine-to-machine IoT, as well as security and surveillance technologies. It's our strong belief at DOGMA, actually, we believe that the network is going to be all IP. And when we say the network, we mean all of it. We mean the voice network, the data network, networks that are carrying other kinds of audio, video traffic, as well as control systems and all of these kinds of things in the industrial IoT space. We see communications infrastructure as a barrier to network transformation. And so a lot of the solutions that we bring to market are actually physical layer products that are allowing you to, for example, reuse legacy copper wiring. That could be telephone grade copper wiring, or it could be even copper wiring that's used for asynchronous serial type communications. We build technologies that allow you to reuse that legacy wire to do high-speed broadband, Ethernet, at long distances, and supporting various topologies, right? So not just point-to-point, but multi-drop, point-to-multi-point, and that kind of thing. We also do a lot with fiber, where when the cable infrastructure gets upgraded to either fiber or wireless, we have technologies that allow you to do basically the opposite thing, which is take legacy devices that were designed to operate on copper networks to operate those on fiber or wireless networks. We believe that unified communications is a network transformation or digital transformation in its own right, but it's happening as a migration. So it's not everything is suddenly converged all at once. It takes time. And because what we believe about convergence is the unification of everything, not just the unification of office communication technologies to a desktop. And because of all of these truths, we see edge orchestration and cloud integration as being essential for service delivery. And I'll talk more about the cloud in a few slides. So where do we fit? What are the technology markets that we serve? Again, it's professional audio video, it's media broadcast and production, it's telecom, internet, network services, it's security and surveillance. We spill over also into electronics and high tech, because most electronics these days are communicating somehow. And then, of course, IT software, cyber and infotech, because everything is becoming software, including the embedded software that we have on our products is now virtualized and available on public clouds and things like that. So we do have several major brands. We're probably most famous for the SmartNode brand. That's mostly what we're going to be talking about today. The SmartNode products are VoIP gateways, routers, enterprise session border controllers that are both hardware purpose-built appliances with embedded software as well as software-only solutions. And these products are all about that network migration that I talked about in the earlier slide. And so we're basically integrating IP and TDM, analog T1, that kind of thing, and enabling enterprises to move to an all IP telecom type network. The CopperLink product is our copper transmission or transport product line. This is what I was talking about when I talked about reusing legacy copper wire in order to support long range, high speed Ethernet-based connectivity. Fiberplex is everything over fiber. So we do, of course, Ethernet over fiber, which everybody knows as kind of media converter type products, but we've got some very specialized products in that area. But it's not just about Ethernet. We're doing audio over fiber, things like audio video type interfaces that you would find in a broadcast environment or in a stadium or in a house of worship. Of course, telecom over fiber, serial over fiber. We do alarming, relay, and control over fiber. So all of that is part of that brand. On-site is our brand for basically converged CPE products. So these are things like edge routers, DSL routers, and all kinds of other network termination units for different kinds of network access. Forefront, if on-site is the customer premise side, Forefront is the edge on the telecom service provider side. So these include things like dial-up remote access servers. If y'all remember the early days of the internet when we used dial-up modems and connected to an internet service provider, well, that internet service provider was using a dial-up remote access server. So it's a device that sits on a T1 line and digitally answers modem calls. There actually is still a big market for that, for not internet access per se, but for things like credit card verification terminals, ATM machines, postage meters, ticketing systems, all of those kind of things still use dial-up. And then, of course, the broadband equivalent of that, DSL access multiplexers, which is basically an aggregator that the telecom service providers use to aggregate broadband subscribers onto the internet. And then, of course, on the telecom side, we've got T1 and E1 multiplexers and then multi-service access units for doing things like TDM and Ethernet over SDH or legacy, the legacy TDM core network technologies. Connect IT, this is kind of where we came from. It's the oldest product line in our portfolio. This is all about extending and converting and protecting different interface signals over copper. So here we're dealing with RS-232, RS-422, RS-485, V35, T1, all of those kind of interfaces and allowing them to be multiplexed or extended over distances or adapted to different cable types. And then, of course, we have our special projects group, which is an activity based out of North Carolina. It's not really a brand, but the special projects group is all about anything special. They're doing network designs, they're doing network implementations, they're doing special product designs and the like. Okay, so now let's jump into Patton's relationship with 3CX. I know many of you are 3CX partners, and so what we do with 3CX, basically pretty simple stuff. We do analog device integration, so you can take legacy analog telephones, connect them into 3CX, fax machines, and all kinds of other things that are not desktop telephones, but are, and that you wouldn't think of normally as telephones. Things such as the speaker and the microphone that's sitting on a parking gate in a parking garage, or the emergency call box hanging on the pole of the airport long-term parking lot, or the building entrance terminal, where in order to gain access to a building, you need to speak with somebody to have them buzz you in. There's a little telephone there. So we integrate those kinds of systems into 3CX. As well, we then do PSTN gateway integration to 3CX. So that's kind of the flip side, where you have a 3CX on-premise or implementation, and you want to connect that to a legacy trunk. And so we can, connect that to an analog trunk line, or to a T1 trunk line, or an ISDN BRI trunk line. And then we do a lot of remote office integrations with 3CX as well, where you have a 3CX implementation on-premise or in the cloud, and you want to extend that out to branch offices, so you can create a private VPN network between your office headquarters and your remote offices, and then the only thing you need in your remote office is basically a SIP phones and a smart node. And then the smart node, because the smart node has a full call routing capability, you can do dialing plans where remote offices are the first digit of an extension, for example, and then individual extensions then get managed by the smart node. In terms of using these products with 3CX, we've got some how-to videos. I put those links to this video here so that when you get the PowerPoint after this webinar, you'll be able to click into those and go through the tutorial about setting it up. We are fully integrated with 3CX configuration web GUI, so it literally is just pull-down menus. We also do a lot of this migration. So, kind of the typical customer for Patton starts with this top upper right-hand drawing, where they have an implementation of 3CX, they've got an analog trunk, they decided to replace their PBX, but maybe they have an existing contract with their trunk provider for their local and long distance calling. And so, they have that trunk, they're paying for it, they want to integrate it with 3CX. So that's kind of how they start. But then, because the Patton Smart Node is able to morph by software licenses, once that FXO line becomes a SIP trunk, the Smart Node that's installed there doesn't need to be changed. You just add a license to turn that trunking gateway into a session border controller, and now you're connected to your internet telephony service provider on that SIP trunk, and you haven't had to change anything on premise. And then we also do survivability. So since you already have an analog, so maybe a company has 6 or 8 analog trunks coming into a particular location, a lot of them will keep one of those analog trunks around and use it as a PSTN fallback, because voice is a mission critical application for many offices. And so if the internet goes down or this broadband goes down, we're able to manage a survivability solution, so you can still make and receive calls, and particularly emergency calls like 911 can be made from inside of the enterprise. That's not the only kind of survivability we can do with a smart node. We can also do multi-wired broadband failover, and multi-broadband wired to wireless network failover as well. Okay, now jumping to Microsoft, Patton has maintained interoperability with all of Microsoft's communications technologies going all the way back to 2007. Microsoft started to getting into the telecom business with a product that they called Office Communicator, or OCS. The Smart Node was certified on that platform. And then when they moved over to Microsoft Link Server, Link 2010, and then again Link 2013. We have achieved that as well. And then 3 years ago or 2 years ago, we got the Skype Business certification, and now Microsoft Teams, which is becoming integrated into Office 365. So for more than a decade, we've maintained interoperability with Microsoft. In terms of the Microsoft Teams integration, there are some very specific things that we do. One is a protocol called direct routing. This is a very important feature that has to be on an SBC or on a gateway in order to support Teams. And basically what direct routing allows you to do is to directly connect to any telecom service provider. So users at their desktops can make and receive calls in Teams connected through a smart node or a virtual smart node to connect to any provider over any trunk. So that's a SIP trunk or a PSTN trunk. And then, of course, legacy equipment integration. There are still, as I mentioned before, those things that you don't think of as telephones also need to be integrated into Teams environment. And so we've developed also some special features. For example, MWI, that's message waiting indication. There's a lot of hospitality environments, hotels in particular, where they have in-room phones, and those in-room phones are never going to go away. They're analog. They have message waiting indication on them. There's 3 different ways to do message waiting indication. We support all 3. And basically that's there to, it's there for life safety reasons. In other words, regardless of who's staying in a room, they need to be able, if they have an emergency, they need to be able to pick up that phone and call 911, and it must work. The hotels also use these as part of their operations. They can dial digits into the hospitality management system to be able to say when the room is clean, so that the front desk can release the room to the next guest. They also use it to tell people to come and refill the minibar, for example. And then, of course, they also use it to broadcast messages to their visitors. So you know, a lot of times you'll come into a room, the message waiting indication is there, you pick it up, and they just want to tell you that the pool is closed, or the golf cart, or they're out of golf carts, or whatever the message is that they want to communicate to the guest when the guest arrives. We also are acting as a gateway between Teams and non-certified SIP devices. So it's not just legacy devices. So if you've got a SIP intercom or a SIP speaker system, or even a 3CX PBX, and you want to integrate those things with Teams, and those things themselves are not carrying the certification, then by virtue of connecting through a Patton smart node, that becomes a legal construct, a legal application from Microsoft Teams perspective, so they will continue to support as long as a certified device is fronting the access into the Teams environment. And then, of course, this helps with the extensive SIP interoperabilities and partnerships that we have. We can connect Cisco to Teams, or BroadSoft to Teams, or Ribbon, or Metaswitch, or 3CX. And then all of this is Patton Cloud orchestrated. It allows you to do zero-touch provisioning. It allows you to float software feature licenses to all the devices that are connected to the Patton Cloud, do remote troubleshooting and call quality monitoring and that kind of thing. And then don't forget, we are a business class enterprise IP router supporting features like VRRP, GRE, RIP, BGP protocols. We have a dual stack implementation of IPv4, IPv6. So for example, we can be used as a V4 to V6 network gateway. So for example, the enterprise could be running IPv4 and could be connecting to a telecom service provider on a broadband link that's IPv6. And we also do the SIP V4 to SIP V6 conversion as well. And then lots of other protocols to enable these kinds of technologies to be implemented. In terms of the kinds of use cases that we support for Microsoft Teams, it's the same kind of things that we do with 3CX, right? So we do the trunk integration, TDM trunks, SIP trunks. We do IP-PBX integration. We do hybrid direct routing, which means that we could do all of the above. You know, you can have on-premise PBXs, you can have cloud PBXs, SIP trunks, even legacy TDM PBXs, all integrated with Microsoft Teams. And then, of course, the survivability feature set is there as well. And what makes all of this possible really is the fact that we've got cloud connected orchestration into the CPE that's deployed on the customer premise or is running virtually on the customer premise through the cloud application. Okay, so one killer app that we've found, and this is a killer app that we're finding actually with both 3CX and Teams. A lot of managed service organizations or telecom service providers are delivering SIP trunks. The delivery of those SIP trunks often are not their own SIP trunk service, but rather they have an upstream SIP trunking provider, and they're delivering those trunks in one of two models. One model would be the rep model or the agent model, where they just kind of represent the upstream provider. They sell those SIP trunks. They get a piece of they get a commission basically on the sale of that SIP trunk. In which case the upstream SIP trunking provider is actually directly billing the ultimate subscriber. And then there's the resale model, where each SIP trunk that's deployed on a customer premise is deployed by the upstream provider. And so the managed service provider is getting a bill for each one of their subscribers every month, and then they're rebilling those subscribers under their own name in kind of a white label type model. So what the Patton virtual CPE does, now the virtual CPE is just like a hardware SPC or appliance that is running in a cloud. And so we can stand up instances of virtual CPE in these virtualized environments with hypervisors and things like that. And now the situation changes. The managed service organization only has one very big SIP trunk from the upstream provider. And then the virtual CPE are then breaking that out into individual SIP trunks. And so there's much more efficient delivery of SIP sessions to the SIP trunk subscriber. The managed service provider only has one bill to pay to the upstream provider, and then can bill individually his subscribers to those SIP trunks. Okay, so now the Patton Cloud. The Patton Cloud Edge Orchestration Service is a recurring revenue model. It's on an annual billing. We have 4 different levels of subscription. The basic subscription is actually free of charge. And then we have standard, advanced, and professional. And one of the things that we do is we offer anybody a 90-day free trial on the professional plan so that they can exercise all of the feature sets of the Patton Cloud. So along the left-hand side here, you see kind of what the basic feature sets are of the Patton Cloud that are aligned with those different subscription plans. And I just want to walk through what these things are. So managed devices, basically, you know, when you come onto the Patton Cloud, you get a dashboard, and that dashboard will show you an overview of all of the devices, hardware devices or virtual devices that you have connected to your subscription of the Patton Cloud. It actually shows them geolocated on a map. It shows you what software revision is running on each device, and it allows you to define an unlimited number of users and to define user access rights to the subscription. You get detailed device lists and views of those connected devices. You can view the device configurations, you can view the device logs, you can look at the device health, and you can access from the cloud any individual device's CLI terminal or web GUI. Redirect is basically allows you to do third-party based no-touch automated provisioning. So basically the redirect, when a device gets plugged in, it connects to the Patton cloud. The Patton cloud sees that device's MAC address and then redirects that device to a third-party server from where it will get its device configuration. But then we also have our own automated provisioning, so you don't need to use a third-party servers. A lot of the bigger telecom service providers already have provisioning services, but if you don't, then a new device can automatically connect to the cloud, and the cloud can provide them the necessary configuration file for that particular installation. And then it allows the user also execute predefined wizards. So a wizard is basically for split provisioning domain. So if there's a few parameters, an IP address or something like that, that the end user would need to configure, then the wizard will pop up and let them put in that information to complete the provisioning of that unit so that no technician is required to be on site. Licensing, so you're able to manage each device's feature licenses, such as how many SIP sessions it can handle, how many voice channels it can handle, whether it has a routing license, whether it wants to do the VPNs or the like. And then of course files, we've got file storage and file configuration storage in the cloud. You can look at your call history of anything that's connected to or through the Patton SmartNode. You can look at the call history of any of those connected devices through the Patton cloud. You can do file synchronization. So the device file system, its configuration, log file certificates are automatically synchronized in the cloud. And then of course, file backup and restore. The software upgrades or updates, you can schedule and perform them on any of the devices in the cloud with just a few clicks. We have an alarming engine, so anything that's happening on the device, through the device, or anything with a device connected to the SmartNode, you're able to define, collect, and distribute alerts based on any event that's occurring. So it can be anything from you're delivering busy signals on your trunks because your trunk is oversubscribed for a particular user, or a user called 911, or it can be that the device is heating up or something like that. It could be any parameter is basically a resource. You can define those resources, and then based on what's happening with those resources, you can create alerts. And then those alerts can be pushed out through APIs, or they can be sent as SMS or text messages. They can do email alerts, or you can have visual alarms that appear on the Patton cloud or in other management systems by leveraging the API. We have a wizard editor, so you can create your own wizards. We do packet capture, so you can, if there's an issue happening on a customer premise, you don't need to visit it. You can turn on packet capture. You can capture all the packets of everything happening in the network. You can isolate the packet capture to a single port or interface. You can capture the whole packet or just the headers. You can define all that and then pull those traces into the Patton cloud and then run like a Wireshark trace on it to see what's going on inside the network. We also do quality monitoring, delivering call quality metrics. So every single phone call is scored to be poor, fair, or good quality based on latency, packet loss, jitter, round trip delay, MOS scores, all of that stuff. Those measures can be customized as well based on any SLA definitions that a particular provider may have. And then of course, we do keep real-time and historic call detail records and call quality metrics integrated together, as well as the packet flows and the call quality graph is. So you could go back in time, you can look at any call. If you get a complaint from your customer that says, I had my call dropped 3 times, or I was getting bad audio every time I call this number, you can go in and you can really do a deep dive to figure out what's going on with those calls, to troubleshoot. Is it something going on with 3CX? Is it something going on with Teams? Is it something on the local area network? Is it something in the wide area network? Is it something with the SIP trunk provider over the top, or whatever? And then, you know, the multi-tenant operation basically allows the cloud to be federated to sub-organizations. And so you can have an unlimited number of sub-organizations. So you can, for example, create sub-organizations for each one of your subscribers and make the Patton Cloud available to them as kind of a self-serve model. Or if you are supporting local resellers, maybe you're selling SIP trunks and your SIP trunks are being resold by other people. Those other people can have accounts on your Patton Cloud subscription, and they can also manage the services that are traversing the network. Okay, so then support just means that, you know, one sub-organization can provide remote support to another sub-organization with defined access rights. So you're able to define, if you've got a sub-organization downstream from you, and they either do or don't want you to have access to their devices, you can allow a support organization, it could even be a third-party support organization, to come in with defined rights in order to support the whole flow of the business. And then, of course, there's an API on the back end, so any of these cloud functions can be integrated into other systems, other clouds, other OSS, BSS type platforms. Okay, so that's the Patton Cloud. There is a host of resources about the Patton Cloud registration available. Each one of these videos, 23 videos here, are between 5 and 15 minutes long, so they're easy to digest. I'm not going to show you 23 videos, but I will just leave these here so that you can click on them, and it brings up a YouTube video. You can watch them anytime that you want. And I just want to say the one video that we're coming out with now, one of the features that's not on this list, and one of the videos that we're coming out with, is the Patton Cloud now does LAN and SIP network discovery. So if you have a Patton device located on a customer premise and you turn on LAN discovery, it will show you every device connected to that LAN. It'll show you firewalls, it'll show you SIP phones, it'll show you wireless access points, and then it will provide those to you in a list. And then you're able to, from inside the Patton Cloud, open up, provided you have the credentials, that you can then open up the user interfaces to those devices. So for example, if you've got a Patton SBC and a 3CX implementation on a customer premise and they've got 10 SIP phones, from inside the Patton Cloud, you can access the user interface on all, or command line on all of those SIP phones, or any one of those SIP phones at a time. All right, now into the chat.
I have a question out there on the cloud.
Yep.
Is the Patton Cloud, is it more for telecom ISP, or is it something that can be, you can host yourself in the telecom data center?
So the Patton Cloud is a cloud service offered by Patton. We host it. We provide subscriptions. There could be, we have not sold it yet, but it could be deployed as a private cloud. We've got some government customers that want to do that. So we do have the capability to deploy it as a private cloud, but we haven't done that. But to answer your question, this is for any kind of a service provider. It could be a large telecom, or it could be a small reseller of IPPBXs, where you're selling IPPBXs, you're selling SIP phones. And for the small guy, what the Patton Cloud allows them to do is basically never leave the office, right? And do everything that they need to do on premise as kind of a remote access into the enterprise network, and to manage the service. It also allows the small managed service provider to punch way above their weight. It allows them to look to the subscriber like their Verizon or AT&T, because if the customer calls with support, the person on the other end of the phone that has a Patton Cloud subscription knows everything about everything that's going on in the network of the subscriber.
Great, thank you.
All right, so now to the channel program. You know, we're kind of old-fashioned here. You know, Patton is, you know, we're still doing business with channel partners that I signed up myself 35 years ago. And so we're not about, you know, come and go. We don't change things in our reseller program very often at all. In fact, it's almost never changed. What we're looking for is long-term relationship, right? But we want to team up with a reseller. We want to be mutually committed to each other. We want to do what it takes to be successful. After having done this for all the years that I have, I know what it takes to be successful. Resellers need to get the training. They can't go it alone, so there needs to be joint selling activities. They need to be locally involved in promoting the solutions. And if all of that's done correctly, which, you know, usually does happen if we push it, then we have the opportunity to really, you know, at some point in time, the channel revenues are gonna start to really grow. And so it's our goal to grow and maximize those channel revenues and for the channel to make money. And so we've configured a program where we have the right incentives to encourage the right behaviors, and we provide sufficient margins on the sale of the products and services that it becomes worthwhile for the reseller to really engage with us the way that we want to be engaged together. So the program has benefits. You know, if you can formally become a Patton reseller, you know, you just by doing that, you get special discounts once you're a registered reseller. We also have launch promotions that we make available. When we're launching a product, we want the channel to be locked arms with us and help us promote it locally, and to localize the messaging and things like that. And so we create incentives and promotions to help them. We are fully integrated with XMarTech. So, you know, we have a great relationship with Juan Pablo. Jen is tied, you know, those guys are connected at the hip. So, you know, the dedicated account manager that we have for XMarTech is your dedicated account manager. And so again, we're acting like a force multiplier for XMarTech as the master channel for Latin America. Of course, free world-class support, you know, comes with the package. Free training, we've got the Patton Academy. Again, all these videos that I showed you that you have access to. We do provide account protection. So if there are, if resellers are working with particular accounts, we don't let other resellers get into their hair. We apply a few different methodologies, but most of what we do is we keep it all in our CRM, right? So it's in a database that we know that this account belongs to this reseller. And so if we're getting direct emails from that account, or if we're getting emails from other resellers, whether they're registered or not, and we're able to detect whether they're involved in that particular protected account, and then we always push back to the protected reseller. All right, so the objectives of the Patton reseller program, you know, what we want to do with this is we want to provide all the right tools and all the right help in order for the channel to realize revenue success. You know, we provide a lot of sales assistance, we provide a lot of guidance. We're plenty involved in the pre-sale support, you know, as a real partnership, right? So it's not just throw issues over the wall. It's if you've got a sales opportunity and it needs competence applied to it, if it needs expertise, then we're there to do it. we know that our success and the channel success are inextricably connected. And we of course, once the sale is made, aiding in the deployment and management of the Patton products, like I said, world-class support. The channel is entitled to certain benefits, rewards. We do things like marketing development funds, so we make funding available to the resellers to support local marketing activities. We also offer certification programs so that the technical people on the ground in the countries where we're working can be certified to work with the product. We can do that through the delivery of the online training in the Patton Academy, or at least up until COVID, we ran 3-day-long classroom courses where our trainer comes to you. We can train up to 10 people at a time. It's 2 days of learning and 1 day of hands-on. We also do things like make not for resale samples available at very low pricing. So if you want to seed the market with test units and things like that, we make them available. And then we work on joint activities that will help develop the local demand. We do a lot of that from our corporate marketing, but there's also things that have to be done. And then of course we have a partner portal where partners, once they join up, can have access to sales leads and can look at all their support tickets, look at who's certified on what, and then get access to marketing kits, things like go cards or battle cards to see how Patton stacks up against this competitor or that competitor. So one of the things that we do here is, from a corporate marketing perspective, is we have a demand creation engine. And so basically what we do is we have a lot of our website is designed to draw traffic using search engine optimization techniques. Every company that visits our site, we get marketing intelligence on them, so we know every single company that's visiting our website. Using a tool called Lead Forensics, which is kind of like Google Analytics on steroids. Once we identify the companies and they meet certain thresholds, like they view a certain page or a certain number of pages, or they spend a certain amount of time on the site, then we're able to use third-party data tools. So we actually go out to a third party like Dun & Bradstreet or Zoom Info, and we peer into that organization, and depending on what kind of organization they are, we're targeting different titles. So we'll be looking for, telecom network engineers and solution engineers and system engineers and people like that, particularly in the end user type companies. And then we append those into our CRM. We'll send some sales messages to them. We'll invite them to opt in to emails, and then we'll nurture them. And then what we do is we monitor any of those newly ingested contacts and companies coming back to our site. Very oftentimes when one of the other things we do is we have premium content on our website where they have to log in. Once they log in, we know where that individual user is going and we know who they are. And so, that helps us guide the web visitors through a process of becoming engaged with us. And then all of this activity basically can generate, if they fill out a web form or they send an email to sales@patton.com, that generates what we call a sales lead. If all they're doing is, we see that there's 10 different people at one company visiting our site, and we see that they're looking at us, and then we'll create a marketing lead. So a marketing lead basically is a warm lead. We know these people are interested, and we just want the reseller to reach out to them and say, hey, we're the Patton guys here, and we would like to see if you need any help with Patton stuff. And then once those leads are assigned to a channel or a reseller, those leads are automatically protected as if it was an account. So we give you the lead, you work the lead. Because you're working the lead, you own the account forever. And one thing is that we're not as strong in this whole activity in the Spanish language. And so one of the things we need is some localization of our content in the Spanish language with link backs to our page so that we can exercise this, what we call marketing to sales process. Okay, so leads and accounts, I already explained the difference between a marketing lead and a sales lead. We do regionalize the lead distribution systems. We are leveraging indirect and direct channels. So, you know, XMartech will be involved in acting as, together with our inside sales, to act as a clearinghouse to decide what reseller is getting what leads. So, and all of this is based on defined workflows for lead assignment, and we do track what kinds of resellers have what kinds of competencies in order, you know, one reseller might be great to take a VoIP lead, another one might be great to take an Ethernet extender lead, and, you know, maybe somebody's good at doing hospitality market, somebody else is good at doing, I don't know, doctor's offices or local government type things. All right, so there's benefits in this whole sales to marketing process. You know, from a sales perspective, we like that customer inquiries get answered and handled right away by the reseller in conjunction with us. We're able to get those marketing leads out and deals registered. We're able to get this account assignment and production done. The database behind all of this fuels the joint selling efforts that we're after. And then it's self-feeding, right? So the sales leads to more contacts, the lead contact more marketing engagement, which is at the end of the day drives more revenue. So coming to the end here, I know I'm a little bit over time, but basically this is an invitation. We're asking you guys to work with Patton and the Latin America team at Patton and XMartech. We want you guys to sign up, become resellers for Patton. We want to work together to define the local activities that we're going to do together. We want you to get the sales training as a first step on 3 of the key brands, the SmartNode, the CopperLink, and the FiberPlex. Then, of course, join the Patton Academy, do the technical training, start getting leads, and let's kick off with trying to be strategic about Latin America, try to be systematic about selling in Latin America, and try to grow the business together as a group. All right, so we are right now in launch on a new product that we call the SmartNode 500. This is the smallest enterprise session border controller in the world. It's also the lowest price session border controller in the world. It has a retail price of only $195. It is for the SME and the SOHO market. It supports between 4 and 30 SIP-to-SIP calls, back-to-back user agent. It has all the Patton Cloud call quality monitoring. It does the zero-touch provisioning, and then it delivers you all the SIP-related benefits that an SBC does with converged voice and data security, interoperability, SIP normalization. You can monitor these call statuses. You can monitor the call quality in the Patton Cloud. So all of that you get with the very low price package. And for you guys today that joined the webinar and are onboarding Patton with Patton as a channel, we've got some really special offers. Buy one, get one free. So we'll get you into a tiered price through XMartech, whatever that transfer price is. You can buy one SN500, get a second one free. You can buy 20 or more and get 2 years extended warranty free of charge. And if you buy 50 or more, you can get a free cloud plan, advanced cloud plan. And then of course we have kind of a cloud promotion that we're running as well that's related to the SN500, where if you get a standard cloud plan, or if you sell a standard cloud plan, you'll get 2 SN500s for free. If you sell an advanced plan, you get 4 SN500s for free. And if you sell the professional plan, you get 8 free SmartNode 500. So it's really a compelling special offer for you guys. And we'd like to see at least some of you, take advantage of it, maybe start off with the buy one, get one free. And we are now at 5 minutes before noon. I've gone over by about 10 minutes, so I apologize for that. And so I will let everybody go unless Jen has some.
I have one question for you here. I have somebody who asked, if they sign up as a reseller, do they, sorry, are there any, I guess apparently there's some delays in support. He's wondering if there's any improvement when you sign up as a reseller.
Well, it could help. I mean, the support people know who the official resellers are and who's not, so that comes up on their screen. And we do the support is free, and so there can be some delays. We do offer some premium support where you can get guaranteed response times and things like that. But the best way that if you're vying for support attention, really the best way is to actually be a reseller, have that dedicated account manager, so you can send an email to Jen and say, or you can send an email to Juan Pablo and say, you know, on this support case, I really need an answer fast. I can't wait 3 hours. I can't wait 2 days. I need an answer on this one fast. Then that'll immediately get escalated and you'll get the response time up.
Thank you. That's all the questions I have at this time.
Good. Well then, thank you once again, everybody who has joined the webinar. The webinar is concluding, so we'll let you go.
Thank you very much, Bert. This is Juan Pablo. I just want to thank everybody for attending. Actually, we got a great presentation, not only PSTN integration, SIP trunk integration, Teams integration, legacy equipment integration, but cloud options for service, for troubleshooting, for management, and a structured channel program with incentives, with tools, with promos, demand generation capability, leads management, free support. So I guess that there is a very compelling reason why we are inviting all of the 3CX channels to join the program. As a matter of fact, this is an open invitation and you are already in the program unless you don't want to be. So we are welcoming, actually you will be receiving some information and we are going to treat you as already signed partners, and we are hoping that you check the promotions. They are already in our website. And any question, please feel free to ask me. I will forward to Jen. We will have some introductions too. And for those that have been asking me, I will be sending again this seminar with Spanish translations so that you can share with the team. I know that some people will prefer to listen to some of this in Spanish. So we are going to do this again in Spanish for you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Bert. Thank you, Jennifer, for making this happen.
Thank you, everybody.